discuss this further, I'm joined by historian and senior fellow at the New Culture Forum. That's Rafe Heydal-Mankoo. Hello, Rafe. How are you?
Very well. Always a pleasure to be with you.
Thank you for joining us. I mean, this is a claim that's been made by the Wildlife and Countryside Link, a charity umbrella group, as I say, whose members include the RSPCA, WWF and the National Trust, made the claim in evidence provided to Parliament about racism and its influence on the natural world. I mean, they've left me completely behind at this point, but MPs in an all-party parliamentary group were told that the British countryside has been influenced by racist colonial legacies, which have created an environment that some fear is dominated by white people. The country's green spaces are governed by white British cultural values, and the perception that the countryside is a white space prevents people from other ethnic backgrounds from enjoying the outdoors. Rafe, discuss.
Look, well, first thing I would say, if you want to find racism in the countryside, you should go for a walk in rural India or Pakistan or Nigeria. You can accuse Britain of many things, but, you know, racism isn't one of them. But this report, you know, if you ever wanted proof that Britain is a post-revolutionary society, you know, with institutions that have been completely captured by revolutionary sort of apparatchiks intent on transforming Britain through, you know, their zealous ideology of critical race theory, then this is it. I mean, the trustees of this organization, it should be pointed out, include people whose work focuses on land justice and decolonizing conservation. So this is not a neutral body.
No.
It's biased to the core. But what's more absurd is that this organization that is denouncing the countryside for its racist colonial white space, for not including ethnic minorities, doesn't have a single ethnic minority amongst its employees. So you might wonder if it's a case of pot kettle black. I went onto its website and it's got 11 employees, all of whom are white. So maybe they should reflect on their own white space.
Exactly. Although I'm not in favour of people having quotas for anybody, whether it's Asian, ethnic minorities or women. But exactly, make the point. But this is the thing. There is nothing stopping anybody from being able to enjoy the countryside, whether, you know, you go out on the train or the bus to the countryside, whether you've got your own car, which most people in this country, most households do. You're able to drive out and enjoy the countryside, go for a walk somewhere, stay in a B&B if that's the sort of holiday you want. There's nothing. There are no signs saying only whites welcome. I mean, you know, it's quite bizarre, this idea. Now, it may well be the case that you largely see white people doing walking, but isn't that because, A, the population is mostly white in this country, and B, maybe walking in the countryside is one of those kind of middle-class holidays, and the middle classes are particularly more predominantly white. But again, why is that a bad thing? I don't go around saying it's outrageous. This rap concert was largely black people, so I didn't feel welcome. I wouldn't feel that at all. It's quite an absurd thing to claim. There is no barrier to anyone enjoying the countryside other than your ability to get there, and that's got nothing to do with colour.
That's precisely it. Also, of course, most ethnic minorities are based in cities where it's quite hard to get to the countryside. Yeah. They may not have cars where they can actually take them into the areas.
But that's the same for white working class people as well.
Yeah, exactly. That applies there too. And it's an important point. You know, I'm a member of the National Trust and the Royal Horticultural Society, so I go around the countryside to lots of houses and gardens. And what I've been very interested to see in the last few years is the number of ethnic minorities who are actually going. But they're Indian, they're Chinese, and they're Japanese. There are actually very few black people who go, and I've noticed this actually as a point of interest. But, you know, so this is a cultural
why does it matter?
issue.
It just doesn't matter to me. What people choose to do in their spare time is entirely up to them. We can't have quotas saying, I'm ever so sorry, Julia, you can't cross over that country style and go for a walk over there because we haven't had enough black and Asian people today.
But my point is, this is not about racism against ethnic minorities. These are cultural issues.
Yeah.
My father was born in Kenya. He's a Sikh Indian family. Sikh Indian family would go for picnics in the countryside outside Nairobi all the time.
Yeah.
Black people weren't going to have picnics there, just a cultural thing. We heard last year in The Independent and elsewhere widely reported, 95% of black people don't know how to swim. Right? These are cultural issues within communities. Yeah. It's not a question of us to try to address
Nothing to do with the colonial influence. Rafe, always so good to talk to you. Thank you so much for joining us. That's Rafe Heydal-Mankoo. Thank you. Really quick word from Philip.
Well, I don't see how a countryside can be racist and colonial. People that are there can be, and the people that are labelling a countryside as such.
And a lot of the countryside is owned by sort of, you know, very rich old families who, we're in Britain, they'll be white in the same way that there'll be different ethnicities in different countries with a different ethnic background. These people are obsessed with race. Well, they're the racists.
And it's creating an issue where there isn't an issue, simply.
I mean, There just isn't one. But this stuff is laughable. And when you actually talk about this stuff, and I know we're mocking it, but when people talk about this stuff and not talking about, genuine issues in terms of affecting people, nothing to do with their colour, actually normally to do with actually their socio-economic background, then they're ignoring the real issues that really do affect people. A load of nonsense. Thank you to Rafe for talking sense about all of that.